All right, everybody, back with another one. Today we're going to be taking a look at the pro-life protesters that were apparently protesting at Planned Parenthood, and they were singing Ave Maria. I believe this is the way that it went down. They were singing Ave Maria, and they were arrested and actually put in jail. Um, Now I don't know the whole situation. I think that they may have also been inside of Planned Parenthood, which may have been considered trespassing by law. That may be what the situation was and why they had the ability to imprison them. Um, so we're going to take a look at all of that today and see what the situation was. But I don't really see a lot of mainstream media outlets talking about these people. Everybody's kind of focused on the January 6th people, protesters then who were pardoned by Trump. This is another group of people who were pro-life, protesting abortion, and they were pardoned by Trump as well in January. So we're going to see what they have to say about their experiences. If you didn't see my last video, I did a video before this of with somebody who was part of the January 6th protesters, and they had been imprisoned as well for that situation. They were pardoned by Trump, or at least his sentence was commuted. So if you didn't see that video previously, go check that out on my channel. But I wanted to continue on with this because I don't know if many people are talking about this. So a lot of times, especially what's going on with Trump, he's passing so many executive orders. He's getting so many things moving with his new administration, and other people in his administration, like Elon Musk, are, you know, getting a lot of things done with Doge. We're also seeing the confirmation hearings going on with RFK Jr., Tulsi Gabbard, um, uh, Pete Hegseth, who was already confirmed, and a few others like Cash Patel for the FBI director. So there's a lot going on in such a short amount of time. Donald Trump's only been in office now, I think, about 3 weeks, and already every day there's like 50 to 100 breaking news items that are like, typically major things, major changes that he's making. So it's easier for certain things to get lost in the shuffle. But I wanted to take a moment to shine a light on these people because they had been imprisoned, and I think that their voice should be heard. I'm big on prison reformation, and especially for, giving people a proper punishment for their crime. So even if you did commit a crime, you obviously should still go to prison if that is the punishment for that crime. But prison sentence should be fair for the crime that you committed. It should be justified. It should be righteous. It shouldn't be um, like what they've done over the last few decades in this country with the judicial system is play politics and use literally lawfare, which is weaponization of the legal system. Um, One of our constitutional rights is the right to, a fair trial, the right to not be cruel and unusually punished. So these are things that are actually constitutional rights for us as Americans. And it's only fair that everybody uh, gets an equal punishment for the crime that they committed. Obviously, if you committed a crime, you have to be punished. That's just the way that it goes. That's the way that it's laid out, and that is actually biblical too. Um, but the punishment has to be fair. It has to be correct for the level of crime that you committed. Somebody who, you know, committed like check fraud, money laundering, um, you know, uh, any type of financial crime, things like that, non-violent crimes. Sometimes they'll give them like 3 life sentences or 150 years. No one in the modern day has lived to 150, so it's just ridiculous that they are even allowed to do this. Almost saying that if by chance you happen to make it to 150 years old, we want you in prison that entire time. If you're the only person that happens to make it to 150 years old, not only should you not be in prison for the rest of your life, because that's a waste of that life, scientists should be studying your body as to how you're able to live that long. So, it's become very political. And again, like I said, they've basically weaponized the legal system. Things need to be fixed in this country in that regard. And we can't just rely on the president now because he's only going to be in for 4 more years. And things could be changed or reversed after he's gone. The people should work towards, you know, reforming what's going on in the prison system so that people are fairly punished for their crimes and also given the chance to rehabilitate, given the chance to, you know, heal from whatever issues they had that caused them to become a criminal and commit that crime. But everybody deserves a second chance in life. And I just, personally think that the prison system has gotten out of control. And I think a lot of it is incentivized because of private business. A lot of people don't know that many of the prisons in America are actually privately owned, which should be illegal. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's not constitutional. It's not something that makes sense as, just in terms of common sense. Why would a private company own a prison? Prison is a system that's set up by the government so that they can mitigate crime in the country for the other citizens of the country, so that the citizens that are behaving and doing the right thing and not, breaking any of, God's commands or the laws that we have put in place and have agreed that this is how we want to live in this society. Those people should be able to live in a free and safe environment. And so the people who refuse to obey, those people will need to be taken out of society and put into a prison for a time. But things do have to be fair. And there's a lot of great nonprofits out there that are actually working with prison reform and trying to get things, better in this country in terms of actually helping the people who go to prison rehabilitate and then be re-released back into the world so that they can adapt and become good members of society. So I wanted to do a little series on this of just taking a look at some of these people, like I did with the last video with January 6th people, and now with these people who have been pardoned because they may have been unjustly imprisoned for the type of crime that they committed, if any. And a lot of it was political weaponization. That's not right. If it's possible for these people to seek legal recourse, I strongly recommend they should do it. But their voice should be heard. And that's why I'm doing this video, because I think the media will definitely brush over a lot of this stuff because it's not as eye-catching, it's not as important. And, there's just so much going on that they want to highlight. The left wants to highlight all the things that Trump's doing that goes against their agenda to, paint a picture for their audience. And the right wants to highlight all the things that he's doing that's for their agenda so that they can, brag and boast about everything that he's doing, that is positive and that they like. But it's important that the media also takes time to shine light on, other situations that are, just issues that we really need to work on as a society. So let's take a look and see what they had to say about their experiences as they speak with, I think it's Kayleigh McEnany, in this interview.
Well, as the Trump administration moves forward, accountability for the last administration is important. And I had the opportunity to speak with 3 pro-life protesters who were pardoned by President Trump after being convicted by Joe Biden's DOJ. You went to a pro-life facility to engage in activism, peaceful activism, and then the FBI calls. Mm-hmm. So tell us what happened with the FBI.
I had no idea. As a matter of fact, my husband said, it's for you, it's the FBI. And I was just waking up. And so when I got on the phone, I said, oh, okay, who's pranking me? And he got very stern and he said, this is not a prank.
Wow. And this all was precipitated by 2020. You go to DC, and I've watched this hour and 32-minute video at this abortion clinic, and I heard Hail Mary and the Our Father and the singing, many hymns that we know, like Ave Maria.
Ave, Ave, Ave Maria, Ave, Ave Maria.
But the judge and the government insisted this was violent.
There were several things that were said to us. One was that this trial was not about abortion, which was sort of ridiculous because that's the reason that we were there, to stop abortions and to love the mothers and the children, but primarily to see if we could intervene and save the life of the babies. And then saving the life of the baby, you often save the life of the mother as well.
So while you're going through all of this, President Trump made mention of you.
The Biden DOJ got Paula Harlow, a 75-year-old woman in poor health, sentenced to 2 years in prison for singing. She was singing beautifully outside of a clinic. Paula is one of many peaceful pro-lifers who Joe Biden has rounded up, sometimes with SWAT teams, and thrown them in jail. Many people are in jail over this. This is just crazy. We're going to get that taken care of.
Were you shocked to hear the president and soon to be president mention you?
I know what clip he had seen. And the thing is, there's absolutely no violence. I have been in the pro-life movement for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I have never, ever, ever seen any violence on the part of pro-life people.
Your attorney said she is requesting that the court allow her the privilege of going to church. Were you shocked to hear a representative of the federal government say you should be unable to go to mass?
What I was surprised at is that this was really targeting my religion, my faith, because if they had just given me an ankle monitor, I could go within 3 miles of my house.
Did they give you any reason for denying you the ankle monitor?
They just didn't want me to go to church.
Yeah, I mean, John, the lawyer said he'd never in his entire career seen a spouse offer to go to prison with his wife.
Well, take my place.
Take your place.
And I just thought, in prison, I don't know if she could survive that. And if she had to go, I wanted to be there.
My sister Jean had called from prison and said, you can't come in here. You won't make it.
And then you were describing for me the way the shackles felt. What was that like?
It felt like razors on my ankles. And nobody told me to wear socks or pants so that they wouldn't cut into my skin. It felt like my skin was being cut.
Did you ever ask yourself, why, God?
No. We had a Bible study going, and a couple of the women joined, and they were so enthusiastic. They were so thankful. And one of them said, now I know why I wound up in prison, so that I could hear this Bible study.
Wow. You know, William, I want to talk a little bit about your time in prison. Could you share with me the condition of the prison?
Yeah, where I was in Bravo unit, it was actually a unit that had been condemned. We went over 2.
So think about how interesting and crazy that is, that statement that she made. She said that a woman she met in prison said she now realized why she ended up in prison, to hear the message of the gospel. Outside of prison, there are thousands upon thousands of churches all throughout America, different denominations, and they're all available for free for people to go to church. You could walk right in on any day that there's a service, mass, whatever, and hear the gospel for free. They even suggest that you give money to support the church, but it's not a requirement. So why are people going to prison and being grateful that they could finally hear the message of the gospel when it's available outside of prison before they get there? That should tell you there's something inherently wrong with our churches today. They're not going out in the world and trying to reach the people. Yes, you definitely do have nonprofits. You do have certain churches and organizations that go on the streets and they talk to people maybe that are homeless, or maybe, they have some sort of mission trip planned or whatever. But a lot of the churches today in America, they have this way about them where they think that America is the greatest nation in the world, which we are, but that we're good, we're finished. So we're going to go on a missions trip to a third world country and spread the gospel to them. And I understand where this comes from. I think that they are acting on in the Bible where it talks about Jesus will not return until his message is spread to all parts of the earth, right? So maybe some of them are trying to fulfill that prophecy. But America still has a lot of work that it needs to get done. And it has a lot of people that are in need, a lot of people that need to hear the gospel. If a person is feeling grateful that they are finally hearing the gospel in prison, and they're grateful that they actually got sent to prison to be able to hear the gospel, the churches should feel as though they failed, because that's available to them out here in the world outside of the prison walls. So what are the churches doing wrong where they're not reaching more people, that they are grateful to be going to prison to hear the gospel? There's something wrong about that. Churches really need to go and do more missions trips in America, help the needy here first. Fix America, get it to where the majority of people, are involved in some sort of church. The majority of people are good, decent people and hopefully saved. Then when we're at a point of equilibrium where things are good and, we could do better if we expand to other countries, fine, do that. But America still needs a lot of fixing here. So hopefully that's a message to the churches. Think a little bit more about what you can do to help Americans here, and then worry about other countries out there in the world. That's one part. The other part is it should be inherently clear now that there is a war on Christianity in this country and in the world as well. It's not isolated to America, because the devil hates God, hates his everything basically, but hates his son Christ. So he's going to work and do everything he can to keep people from God, from Christ, from finding their way back to belief and faith. That's just the way things are. But you could also see that politically in this country and in other countries in the world too, but America is like the pinnacle. There was clearly a war on Christianity under certain administrations and not that way under others. That's a problem, because not only is it a violation of our First Amendment rights, it shows you that there are people who are not working with God, or not working for God, or not carrying out his will in our government. We basically are allowing evil to conquer our government. That's not good. America was a Christian nation founded on Christian principles. We need to fix that. And hopefully this administration will work towards that. I did see that Trump just recently put together something for like faith initiatives to try and bring faith back to America. That's a great start. Now this has to be spread throughout the country, and other people need to get involved as well. It can't all be on Trump. But if you noticed, this protest at Planned Parenthood was in October of 2020. Donald Trump was still president then. And it looks as though the arrest was not made at that time that he was a president and the people were at the Planned Parenthood. It's not like they got arrested out of the building for doing this because of, trespassing or whatever. It looks like this event happened in October of 2020. They were there doing their thing. And then after the 2020 election in November, when the new administration came in, it looks as though that's when they decided to go after these people. And if you heard, these women are in their 70s at this time. They're not a threat to society. They're not. She made the claim that they never had a violent situation at any of their pro-life events, and nothing from any of their pro-life people. I'm sure that that could easily be proven or disproven. But logically, the judicial system, what purpose would it serve to take people in their 70s that are nonviolent and put them in prison? It goes back to what I was saying before. The judicial system in this country is broken. It needs to be fixed. There's obviously a lot of corruption and, backdoor deals and things like that, we know. But a lot of the times the punishment does not fit the crime. And that's not how it was designed when this country was founded. What would make sense is if these women were trespassing, let's just say that's the law that they broke, to put them under house arrest. Let them stay home. You don't know, they're elderly. Maybe they are not in the best health to be in a prison, which is known to make you less healthy. People come out of prison with a lot of medical issues, organ issues, all different types of things because they are not well taken care of there. That a lot of times they die shortly after being released if they've been in prison for a long time. Short time, yeah, you could always recuperate from that. But if you've been in prison for like 20, 30, 40 years, most times people come out and they die very shortly after, even if they're not that old, just because they have a lot of health issues as a residual effect from the prisons. So why would you put women in their 70s in a prison? I mean, they could need all different types of medical attention. That would just be a further drain on the taxpayers' dollars to be able to support that healthcare. You would just put them under house arrest, put an ankle monitor on them. I mean, there are plenty of people who get that treatment. It would make sense that would be the fitting punishment for these people for this crime if that was the crime they committed. That wasn't the case here, which should tell you it's likely politically motivated. But the problem with that is, if these women were not trespassing, the government is guilty of violating two things: their First Amendment right to freedom of speech and their First Amendment right to freedom of religion. They have a right to be Christians and be against abortions because that's what they believe. They also have a right to speak freely about that in the public square. So this is really a problem if the government is actually guilty of a crime against the people's rights, but the people are being punished. So just goes back to what I was saying about how we really need prison reform and we really need to fix the judicial system in this country.
Without toilet paper. And some of the guys mentioned that some of the men who were there with gender dysphoria wearing dresses, they could get mascara, lipstick, and perfume, but we couldn't even get toilet paper or basic needs. So there was a lot of neglect.
You also had a rather frightening incident. You busted your head open. I'll let you share this. Fractured your head, and your fellow inmate thought you were dead.
I was on a high steel top bunk of a bunk bed that's about 5.5 feet up, and was saying my prayers in bed, and I fell asleep, and I managed to roll over in my sleep and go right off the edge of the bed. And I was bleeding quite a bit. I was unconscious, but one of the guards even told me later, when they turned the lights on, it looked like a homicide scene. There was so much blood. But when I came back after 11 hours in the emergency room, and some of the Hispanic guys in my unit and others were seeing me, they were making the sign of the cross, and they were shocked because everyone had thought I had died.
Do you think God saved you for a reason?
God save me. I believe so.
The literal name of the act, and I could not believe it when I read it in the Thomas More Society's advocacy for you and your colleagues, it's literally called the Ku Klux Klan Act. So this is a post-Civil War Reconstruction piece of legislation from the 19th century, never used by Obama's DOJ, never used by Clinton's DOJ, but somehow resurrected by Biden. It's intended to go after lynching in its original form, and they go after you?
Yeah, it was weaponization, like President Trump says. And here they're using this conspiracy law that they use on violent Ku Klux Klan member and racists to use against us when we're trying to save lives. It's like totally flipping reality.
You said the word weaponization.
Yeah.
That radical Catholic memo, traditional Catholics are a threat that somehow needs to be monitored.
You see, but there's a difference, though. The First Amendment gives us the right to peacefully protest, gives us the right to freely express our thoughts, not force them on people, and not act violently in protest. So what the KKK did and other groups like them throughout history was not protected by First Amendment rights. You have no right to physically attack or harm somebody because of your beliefs. That's not protected. But you do have a right to go and sit somewhere and sing and talk about how you're against whatever it is that's going on there, and even try and transform people that are involved to hopefully help stop them from doing something of that nature. The problem is there's clearly a political agenda here and also a business agenda as well, because a lot of people don't know, but Planned Parenthood, like many abortion clinics, actually profit off of the sale of whatever residual fetal tissue or organs or body parts even from the aborted babies that they get. They can actually resell those items to the medical market for, could be scientific research, it could be organ donation, organ harvesting, whatever, or it could be many other things. We don't really know because no one's ever audited Planned Parenthood and thoroughly looked at what they're doing with this stuff. People have gone undercover and done research on it to try and figure out what is going on, and some stuff has been leaked before to the media and to the public, but no one's ever really scrutinized and gotten to the bottom of what it is that they're doing with all this stuff. I think if we did, most people would probably agree this is wrong, and we cannot allow this organization to continue to do this. Doesn't matter if it's for scientific research or not. It's not worth the life of a human baby.
Monitored. The memo was rescinded by the FBI director. But do you believe this attack is broader than the pro-life community? It's an attack on men and women of faith.
Yes, I believe it is.
I was appalled watching Garland. He was isolating us and targeting us because of our pro-life stance. And especially, he was targeting Catholics. And he just went to Congress and lied.
Where were you when you learned about the pardon?
They should not have been prosecuted. Many of them are elderly people. This is a great honor to sign this.
Oh, I was sitting right next to Paulette. And, you know, Trump says promises made, promises kept. We had no doubt that he wouldn't fulfill his promise.
So did you get a call or you found out on TV?
Yeah,
We found out on TV.
You found out on TV?
On TV.
As fast as I could with my concussion, I made it up the 3 flights of stairs into the TV room. And there, all the guys were watching Fox News, and they said, "You just got pardoned." And they're shaking my hands. 60 guys in the unit all start cheering and applauding. And I was like, this is just such a joyful experience. And many of the guys in there were full of joy, too.
You know, it was such an honor.
You see, there's something inherently wrong when the prisoners that are in the prison with these people know that they were imprisoned wrongfully, but the government and the prison warden and the guards don't know that. And even if they do, they're going along with it. That's not good. We as Americans have the right, no matter what position you're in, no matter what job you hold, you have the right to protest. Now, protesting doesn't just mean, I think people think it means just standing on a street corner with a picket sign. No, protesting is standing up for or against anything based on what you believe in. So if you see that it's wrong that this person is imprisoned and you're a prison guard or a warden, you can speak out against that. You can go to them, the courts or whoever, and get involved and vouch for this person. You could also decide not to have them participate in many of the things that are routinely part of the prison system and protocol for the other inmates, because you feel that what they did or the crime or whatever does not, punishment does not justify the crime. They have a right to protest this. It's actually there's actually I don't know what the law is or whatever the procedure protocol in with the police. Many police officers, it's unspoken that they are supposed to meet a quota. They're supposed to get a certain amount of tickets, summonses to people who are speeding or driving or whatever erratically per month. They're supposed to get a certain amount of arrests, a certain amount of many different things in order to meet a quota so that the city or the township or the municipality, whatever, can continue to guarantee a certain amount of revenue coming in. This is highly unlawful, but this is something that goes on in every town across America with police, especially municipal police and not like, state sheriffs and things like that. But even as a police officer, you have a right to protest that. You have a right to decide, I'm not going to engage in this. I'm not going to meet this quota if there's not that many people committing crimes like that. Because now what you're doing is you're sort of forcing these cops to do things that they have to do to meet the quota. That could entail them breaking the law now, right? They could get involved in entrapment so that they meet the quota every month. They can get involved in escalating the situation so that the person breaks other laws because they're not breaking that law. And then it gives them the opportunity to get them on those crimes. It's not good. We don't want to set up a system like this because it only incentivizes more bad behavior from everybody involved. But the police have the right to protest this and not take part of it. Yeah, it's going to hurt your career. You're not going to get as many raises or advancements, but they can't do anything to you. They can't fire you. They can't, punish you in legal ways because you're not doing anything wrong and you have that right. So the police have the right to do this, to stand up to the tyranny in their own circles and not engage in something that they believe is unlawful. Everybody has that right, no matter what position you're in. But when the inmates are all in agreement and understanding that these people are innocent and shouldn't be here, and the people who are in charge of keeping them there don't know that, that's a huge problem in society. We have an issue and we need to fix this. And, really, I understand that people say, well, I was just doing my job. But we've seen throughout history how that turns out. Many people said that when they were with different dictatorship regimes. You could name them off like Hitler and Stalin and Mussolini and all these different people throughout history where they were working with them and were involved in many different evil and heinous acts that, they maybe regretted later on life and had said, I was just doing my job at the time because they were in fear for their own life, their own safety, whatever. And that's the problem. That's how we get to a place of a dictatorship. That's how we get to a place of a totalitarian government or, enslaving people, or even worse, genocides. this is exactly what we don't want. We don't want weak people just standing idly by, watching other people do things that are immoral or illegal. This is actually a major problem with the younger generations today, like Gen Z and some of the millennials, where they will witness crimes going on in the real world. And instead of doing anything to help like a good Samaritan should, they will take out their phones and record the situation and post it online or something, either to get a laugh or likes or follows or just to document the situation, whatever it is. But we have a lot of people today not being good Samaritans and actually stepping up and doing anything about these situations. And again, that's a cultural problem in our society that we need to fix. But yeah, this is it's nice to see that Trump pardoned these people. They clearly were not candidates for prison because they're elderly, and anyone who can put elderly people in prison or people that just don't belong there, and I'm talking just because you're elderly, if you are a serial killer, then that is what it is. You have to go to prison. But if you're elderly and you commit a nonviolent crime, that should not be the recourse. That should not be what the judicial system does. So it's nice to see that these people got pardoned, and hopefully this will be a lesson to others in the future that there needs to be a better way of, punishing people correctly for the crimes that they commit. Again, the punishment has to match the crime. Otherwise, it's not fair. And the people who are doing this, they wouldn't like it done to them. So maybe that's something that they will hopefully think about if any one of them ever watches this video. But again, it's great to see that Trump pardoned these people and the January 6th people and anybody else who was wrongfully convicted. And hopefully he will work towards correcting the judicial system in this country. I would imagine that once Kash Patel gets approved or confirmed as the FBI director, hopefully he will help to make a lot of those changes, and other people as well in Trump's cabinet. So yeah, that's it for this video. I was glad to at least give these people the opportunity to have a voice, and hopefully this message gets out to anybody who is interested in trying to make a difference in prison reform or in the judicial system in this country. Things need to be fair for everyone. But that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And put in the comments if you like this, or if you have any topics or other videos that you'd like me to take a look at and do on this channel. Feel free to put it in the comments. Definitely love engaging with you guys. If you do comment, I will respond to you as quickly as I can. And even if it's something you disagree with or you want to say something that you didn't like about it, that's fine. It's all fair game here. But that's it for this video. Stay tuned for the next one. All right, everybody, I just want to take a moment to promote my children's book. This is Little Boy Full of Love. That's me on the back. And this is a little sneak peek on the inside. It's a great book. It's a children's book. I actually wrote this for my son, and it's available right now on Amazon, Walmart, Barnes & Noble, Indigo, Bookshop.org, and a lot of other online platforms. But more importantly to me, it's actually available in a lot of bookstores throughout the country. You can find out which ones are closest to you on my Instagram page. We highly recommend that you shop local, buy from a local bookstore. So if you are looking to, get a children's book for you or anybody you know, or even with the holidays coming up, it's a great time to, buy a children's book as a gift. Definitely get it from a bookstore that's local to you. But if you absolutely can't get it from one of the bookstores that are currently carrying it right now, and we're in about 15 or 16 different states across the country, so it may actually be in your state, and it could even be local to you. But if you can't get it from the physical bookstore, check out our Amazon storefront. The book's available on there right now. And like I said, with the holidays coming up, you may want to do your Christmas or Hanukkah or holiday shopping early, and you can even order it from our Amazon storefront and ship it directly to whoever you're gifting it to. But it's available on those platforms, Amazon storefront and bookstores and other websites that I mentioned. But I want to take a moment here to look at the storefront just to give you an idea of some other stuff that we have available on there. These are products that we highly recommend. They are things that we use in our daily lives, and it's all organized by category. So it's a lot easier to, shop for the holidays and specifically for things that interest you, particular categories. Available right now, many different items on our storefront. If you can see here, 61 items just in women's apparel, fall decor, because right now we're in fall, 26 items, kitchen items, baking specifically, things for around the house, children's toys, even stuff for parties. If you're trying to save money on a party and throwing your own, occasion, you can even buy some cool gadgets here to help you, put on a better party. Health and wellness items here, even stuff for Christmas. And there's the book right there. So you can get it from the storefront. You can get it from the bookstores, like I mentioned. But it's available on all these different platforms. It's really easy to find and gift to somebody. Also, I want to show you the apparel shop, and these are some clothing items that we actually produced. So if you're looking to get some cool apparel items, shirts, hoodies, long sleeve, short sleeve, leggings, even accessories, cell phone cases, women's makeup bags, fanny packs, coffee mugs, all different types of stuff, even some, art, all different categories here, apparel, homeware, accessories, drinks, even digital items. It's all on this store, healthybodygoodsoul.com. Anything that pertains to you or somebody that you're looking to get a gift for the holidays. A lot of great designs on here, a lot of cool designs that we actually custom created. Stainless steel water bottles, especially now with the fall and winter. A lot of cool hoodies and long sleeve shirts. This is a really cool one, I think, for women. The original Be Your Soul apparel, that one's actually really popular. People tend to like that. This one's one of my favorites. The free shirt. It's the American flag and it says free and that says not property of the United States government. That one's pretty cool. Got all different types of tank tops, hoodies, long sleeve, short sleeve, tote bags, coffee mugs, even some items for kids, backpacks. So if you're the type that likes to, plan ahead, I would definitely recommend ordering from the Amazon storefront or the apparel shop within the next couple of weeks to get everything in time for the holidays. Use code SAVE15 on the apparel shop to save 15% off everything on the storefront. So order within the next week or two and you'll definitely have everything in time for the holidays. Definitely check out all the links to everything, the Amazon storefront, the book, and the apparel shop in my bio on all my platforms, Rumble, YouTube, Instagram, Spotify. But you can also find them in all the show notes for every episode that I post and get all your orders in time for the holidays. All right, that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. It helps the channel continue to grow. And put in the comments things that you would like me to talk about and make videos on for the future. And I will definitely do my best to do that. Stay tuned for the next one.